Hello, everyone. Welcome to our tour of Legacy Point, UCF. So this is one of the few senior livings in the country that's affiliated with a major university. And that brings everything that young people and that energy bring to the system. Now, as we've done all of our tours, you can always tell when there's younger people working at the senior living. It's just great to see. There's more energy, caring, compassionate. It's the people who have a knack for it, people who are a desire, a drive. Most young people don't go into senior living, so when you do see them there, they're there for a reason. Maybe something happened to them, or maybe their parents were in the industry. But either way, they get it. So it's always good seeing young people, and we saw a ton of young people at UCF. This campus was built after COVID. This is the first one we've toured where we can say that about. So it was finished in 2021. And they made some cool kind of things that are good for either another COVID situation if it does happen, God forbid, or but they're actually useful in everyday. So everyone, check out behind me. We have these little living rooms they built. So if any of you have toured or visited others in senior living in the past, sometimes it can be an absolute nightmare trying to figure out where to all sit and congregate. When we went to go visit my aunt, for example, we'd be in her room and, you're in a senior living, you're in a very small, like 400, 500 square foot unit. You don't have room for 5 or 6 chairs for when company comes. So, she would sit on her bed and we'd stand and that was okay. They built these for COVID. So these are little areas where you can get some enclosed space where basically if we had another pandemic, families could gather with their senior and spend time with them and still be secluded from the rest of the community, still maintain separation and a level of comfort. So these were really cool, and they would be cool in the pandemic, but also they're really cool because you can just come take them whenever. You go visit your aunt, your mom, your dad, and you bring them downstairs. You can have all the kids with you, and this room will fit 6 or 8 very comfortably. So this is cool. It's unique, and it just really solves the problem is what are we going to do while we're visiting, mom or dad? Legacy Point has one of my very favorite things for those of you all who know me, and that's respite care. So what respite care is, if you don't know, say you need to take a 2-week vacation, or maybe your loved one lives alone and they need assisted living, but only for a couple weeks while they recover from a surgery or something like that. Now, a lot of communities, you have to sign up and do the full on board month to month, do the move-in fee, the whole process, basically move your whole residence to the senior living if you need to stay there at all. Skilled nursing is different. That's for shorter stays, 14 to 21 days. And sometimes it can be longer if you're in a long-term skilled nursing, but it doesn't solve the problem. Where do you let mom recover after hip surgery? Well, these respite care options are a great place. They're not super cheap, but they're all included. They come fully furnished, great design, and it's a nice 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, private unit, and includes food. And this is assisted living respite care. So they're there to take care of her needs and get to know her and spend time with her. And, because obviously respite care is good for them too, right? 2-week trial where hopefully they're going to get a new resident. And so they're doing everything they can to make sure that your mom has a good time while she's there. She's going to be the star, for her time in respite care. So a very good place if your mom needs a little bit of attention that you can't provide. Maybe you live across country. That's really important for something like that. This would be a great place to just let her recover from surgery for somewhere and have all the care in the world that she could possibly ask for. Price time, this is actually cheaper. This is brand new. It's nice. It's clean. It's beautiful. Hotel room class quality. And it's as low as $250 a night. We'll talk about that a little bit more in pricing, but that beats maybe everyone I've seen in respite care. And that's basically an all-inclusive hotel for the day, plus care for $255 a night. So that is really hard to beat. And it's all nice and new, and this isn't, it's not cheap because it sucks. It's just an amazing deal. So respite care here, UCF. We have a couple other places too I highly recommend for respite care. But if you're looking for something nice, clean, and beautiful, Legacy Point has a great price on their respite care. One of the other things that's super cool about respite care at Legacy Point, they actually have memory care respite care. So what that is, it is just like it sounds. Like if your parent's going through Alzheimer's or early stages of dementia and you're looking to see if memory care might be right for them, or if you need to go on a trip, or this could be your husband or wife and you can't leave them alone. Maybe you have to travel for other family reasons and somebody has to stay here and take care of dad. Respite memory care is unique. I've never seen this before, and I've been to at least 30 senior living communities in the last year. This is cool. You probably have to stay for about a month, so that's good too. I mean, it's not just like you're locking dad up in a hotel and shutting the door. They're actually acclimating him and making him comfortable and spending time with him and doing the whole process, taking care of him and making sure he eats good meals and all that stuff. So, it takes a little time to get to know dad and get to know what he might want. So give it a month. And, if you are debating, is this going to be a thing that we're going to have to do sooner or later? This is a really good try before you buy. This is definitely just getting a taste of senior living. Dad may absolutely hate it. Most likely, he's going to say this isn't so bad. While we're on the tour, they were telling us a story, actually. And about 3 days into a respite care visit, one of the residents said, you know what? I'm staying. Let's sign the papers. And so the one thing they insisted on was the room. I guess they had a great view of UCF or something like that. And they said, if I can stay in this room, I'm staying. So he stayed there. He kept all the furniture, and he just lived like that he's probably still living there right now, actually. But all these unique options, the focus on respite care here is absolutely phenomenal. The price tag's really good too. If you need respite care, I'm recommending UCF, Legacy Pointe. So respite care is huge to me because I just see the value. It's exactly what we needed when my dad was really going through it. And that's why I just see the importance of a good respite care. But we didn't even learn about the respite care at Legacy Pointe until we were talking about something else that's cool and unique to Legacy Pointe as well. So on a lot of our tours, you'll see all the model units for the assisted living, and those all look beautiful. They're all absolutely sparkling, but all the units come unfurnished. That's a normal thing. These units come unfurnished, and so what your mom's place really looks like is the collection of her most valued possessions, and so it doesn't quite look like the model, right? Well, for the assisted living, this doesn't go for the independent living. They do have that there, but we're mostly talking about the assisted living on up. So the assisted living, you can actually get a furnished unit. So if your parents living with you now and they already sold the furniture and they're just kind of coming just them, instead of going out and shopping and arranging the deliveries and all that stuff, you can just buy a fully furnished unit. Rent. This is a rental, and you just be going month to month with it. But it can come furnished, a couple bucks more, obviously. But it's kind of a nice way to, if you're in that situation where mom doesn't have a lot of stuff she's wants to hold on to. So this is really cool. They do this for the assisted living, the fully furnished units, and also memory care. They're starting too. Memory care might be a good one because at certain stages in the dementia cycle, they're probably not going to have the valuables or different things. They can bring some stuff with them, but a lot of times it'd be good to just get that fully furnished unit. And Legacy Pointe, only one I've seen that offers. I'm sure there would be some senior livings that would accommodate and help with that type of stuff, make it happen. I know Savannah Court, you could talk to Gabby. She'd make it happen if needed to be. But this is just kind of an option, when you buy. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about dining for a second. Now, on our tour, I was assured, and the restaurants look really nice, by the way. They look really nice. I was assured that the meals are world class, and the Rosen School of Dining is part of the menu planning, and all the pictures online look inspirational. We just came on the wrong night. It was like turkey dinner or something, or like green bean casserole, just something pretty basic. And I was just like, it didn't quite add up to what we were saying, what we were hearing. I'm sure it's good. By the way, we're gonna do a much more extensive tour. This campus is beautiful, and you have to actually see it to experience it. So look out for that in one of our future episodes. And by the way, if you would like a different senior living tour, maybe you live out of state and you're really wanting a certain senior living, if you want the lowdown on it, put in the comments below. Put in the senior living. I would be more than happy to review any senior living you guys send our way. We have about 10 tours right now on our YouTube channel, but if you want to see any specific community, just put it in the comments and let me know. So like I said, we'll be coming back, we'll be doing the tour, and at that point I'm going to get a better feel for this fine dining that they offer, because I'm sure it's there, but it was just so funny that the menu we saw looked like the most basic thing on the particular day we were there. So not knocking them at all, but that's going to be something I'm going to follow up with. All right, everyone. So we're going to talk about pricing for a second. The basics. So the Legacy Point at UCF has everything. It has the independent living condos and it has the villas. Those are going to be your two entry options if you want to do independent living. So the villas, let's see here, is single family homes on a street, white picket fences, people walking their dogs, single car garages. You can still live your life, do your thing, almost like living in a regular community, except you have, basically at that point, you are buying into the prices of your future senior living. And what I mean by that is the villas is the portion of UCF that is a CCRC, a continued care or life plan community. In other words, you're probably more familiar with the term life plan. And what that is you do a one-time buy-in and then you make monthly payments. And you're an owner though, not a renter. And when rent payments skyrocket, you have some protection there. So that's why a lot of people do it. And for the security of being a resident there for life, you can just transfer as necessary to assisted living, to memory care, to skilled nursing as needed. So they do have everything there. So that's the two ways, just renting a condo independent or getting one of these villas and living single family house. Next up, they have memory care, skilled nursing. Those are pretty much standard. Assisted living, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom house, just like we have here. These ones start at $49.95 plus level of care. So think about that for a second, folks. $49.95 plus level of care. For those of you who don't know what level of care is, you'll find a lot of information on it on my other videos. But basically, when you live in an assisted living, you pay for the room and board, which in this case would be $49.95 for this 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom unit. And then depending on the level of care, the additional level of care that your parent would need, that would be in addition to the $49.95. For example, at UCF, it's about $800 to $1,800. 1,800 is pretty sick, needs help with just about everything. Basically, having a staffer on there in their room, multiple times a day. 800 would be the basics, where needs help with a couple of the activities of daily living. You get used to that term too, or ADL they'll say. And that's just like things like, can she shower on her own? Can she brush her teeth? Can she feed herself? Can she go to the bathroom on her own? Those type of things. Those are the activities of daily living. And depending on how many of those mom or dad can do on their own, that's how they determine the level of care price. $49.95, if you've gone on us on any of our other tours, you've seen that that's pretty much a good base price. So the fact that you're in this nice new facility with these nice restaurants and all these different options, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, you could be somewhere much less for like $200 less. I mean, you're literally talking about a very good starting base price for assisted living. And $49.95 you would have to pay, worse places. So anyway, folks, those are some of the basics of Legacy Point at UCF and how it's different than a lot of the other communities we've toured. I absolutely loved it. My wife, she couldn't be here today. She absolutely loved it. She loved the energy of all the kids running around and answering questions, talking about doing this stuff and really helping the seniors, just passionate. The passion the young people bring. That was probably one of her main things. Also, as part of the UCF, if your mom or dad, if there's any kind of relationship with the school, you do get passes so you can go to games, go to the concerts, events and stuff that they have on campus. So, and there's a shuttle going back and forth between Legacy Point and the main campus. If that's any interest to you at all, they have it. There's that whole thing there too, where they have you interact on campus, anytime you want. So, all right, guys, Legacy Point at UCF. Thanks for coming along with us. I hope you enjoyed this tour, and I'll talk to you soon.